Welcome to another chapter in our video series on English Grammar Made Easy. And today we are dealing with pronouns. Pronouns are those words that replace nouns. For example, the noun Tom said that it was his car, his being the pronoun, replacing the noun Tom. Now, pronouns, I have to warn you, are small words, but they can give very large headaches, even to native speakers. But don't despair, I'm here to help, and I'm sure this guide will help you to understand and how to select the right pronoun and to match it with the noun that it replaces. So it's a kind of a matchmaking game that we are playing when we are selecting the pronouns that we use in our speaking and writing. Now understand that a pronoun gets its meaning from the noun for which it stands. And that is why the correct match is so important. Otherwise, you might refer to a different noun and people will become very confused. Here is a straightforward example. This is Sue. Sue is our noun. She is a student at our school. Very clear that she refers to Sue. She is our pronoun, of course. Now, a high-level grammar moment, perhaps. The noun that determines the meaning of the pronoun, in our example, Sue determined she, right? We call this noun an antecedent. Ante means to go before. Perhaps to remember it, this is my antecedent. She arrived on earth before I did. So just a lighter moment. Now, pronouns help us to make our speaking and writing less repetitive and thus, hopefully, more interesting. Here's an example. Tom suggested that Tom, Dick, and Harry go to Tom's house in Tom's car and eat dinner that Tom has prepared with Tom's outdoor barbecue. Really a lot of repetition of the name of Tom, right? Perhaps we can write it like this. Tom suggested that he, Dick, and Harry go to his house in his car and eat dinner that he has prepared with his outdoor barbecue, giving us slightly more variation and making what I think is a boring sentence a little less boring. Now, to love oneself is the beginning of a lifelong romance, said by Oscar Wilde, very famous playwright and poet. And the quote is here because the first pronouns that we're going to be dealing with are the pronouns about the self, about the speaker or the writer. Now, in this video, I am the speaker. I'm also the writer of the slides that we look at. And here are some examples of pronouns about the self. I love to read. Sue gave me a book. I read a chapter in my book every day. I remind myself to drink water while reading, and that book is mine. These are singular pronouns and they can work for all sexes, no matter if you are male or female or perhaps transitioning, to be politically correct. If you are part of a group, if you are not an individual and not singular, then the pronouns that you select will change. We need a different set of pronouns. May we join the book club? Sue told us that they read a new book every month. We said that we prefer our schedule. Sue finally invited us to the next meeting. We told ourselves to be well prepared. After the meeting, the snacks served will be ours. High-level grammar moment. Always check if the speaker is alone, in which case you will use the singular pronouns, or part of a group, in which case you will use the plural pronouns. But that's enough about me and us. Let's talk about pronouns that speak to other people. When you are speaking not about yourself, but you are speaking to another person or another group of people, then we will use the following pronouns. Do you want to eat dinner now? Your chair looks very comfortable. Would you pour a glass of wine for yourself? Do the four of you usually decide on the menu by yourselves without any help from a chef? Sue forgot to buy sugar and wants to know if she can use yours. Now, the pronouns you and your may replace the name of one person or replace the names of a group. In both cases, you and your can be singular or plural, so very useful. You don't change from individual to group. An individual is you, a group is you. An individual is your, a group is your. Very easy and very simple. Sometimes English grammar is kind to us. But now let's talk about pronouns that speak about other people. This is when we get together with our friends and we gossip, perhaps, right? We're not talking to somebody, but we're talking about somebody. Now, here it gets tricky because we have male, we have female, and we have thing. Things such as a phone, okay? Not a person, right? A phone, an object, a car, a television set. Male, the pronouns are he, him, his, himself. Female, the pronouns are she, her, hers, herself. And there are other pronouns nowadays being used. I am not exactly sure yet how they work well. I just know that some people like to be referred to as they and their and them, and that is also perfectly in order because everybody should feel comfortable with how they are referred to. And a thing is referred to, so again, table, telephone, car, television set, it, its, and itself. This is, of course, the singular form. The plural for all is the same. They, them, theirs, themselves. So if you have a friend who does not want to be referred to as male or female because they believe themselves to be binary, it is perfectly in order to refer to them as they, them, their. That actually is an old convention in English. We also have something that is called possessive pronouns that show ownership. Mine, ours, yours, his, hers, theirs, and its. Now, never ever write an apostrophe when using possessive pronouns. Never write it like you see on the screen here, there, apostrophe S. That is a mistake. That is just plain wrong. Write it like you can see in the sentence, in the example above, without an apostrophe. An apostrophe is used to contract two words. Okay. All right, here are some examples of pronouns in use. I come to see you today in your workplace near my house. I saw a red car driving down the street and realized it is yours. I saw you driving a red car down our street. Some possessive pronouns in use here, and I'm reminding you, please subscribe and come back to this channel. Now, here is a little tricky thing, a mistake that people make, and this is even native speakers make these mistakes. So don't worry, practice makes perfect. It's very important, and this is where your understanding of a sentence as consisting of subject, verb, and object becomes so important, because we get subject pronouns and we get object pronouns. When I say I go to the movies, I am the subject, right? I'm going to the movies. When I say my mother gave me dinner, I am the object, and then I become me, right? Understand that we must look at the sentence carefully that we are saying or writing and saying, is this noun the doer or the object, the thing that receives the action? Is it the subject or the object? Because the pronoun changes. Look at the sentence. This is a mistake that many people make. Tom and me are going to the cinema. Tom and me, right? What's wrong with it? But if you take Tom away, will you say me am going to the cinema? Of course not. You will say I am going to the cinema, not me am going to the cinema. So Tom and I are going to the cinema. That is the correct one. We have to look very carefully at the noun that we are replacing, and we have to see, is the noun doing, is the noun a subject, or is the noun receiving the action? Is the noun an object? And then use or match it with the correct pronoun. We also find reflexive pronouns. This is, I saw it described in one of the books that I use as research as a pronoun selfie. This is where we point back to a noun or a pronoun that we used at the beginning of the sentence. I like to cook myself. In other words, I don't want other people to cook for me. I like to cook myself. Do you eat by yourself? Are you alone? Did you come here by yourselves, or did you take a bus? Did you walk? Himself, herself, and themselves. I think you get the point of the so-called pronoun selfie. Here are some examples. I prepared myself for the exam by studying all night. You should take care of yourself when you're recovering from a cold. Sue challenged herself to run a marathon within 6 months. They enjoyed themselves at the beach on weekends. The cat knows how to take care of itself by winning over its owner's heart. I know cat lovers and dog lovers will want to strangle me, but it's true that we refer to animals as it. We do not really refer to animals as him or her. We refer to animals as it, no matter how we feel about them. Well, that's it for some introduction to pronouns. There's a lot more about pronouns, and it gets very technical. But as long as you know that we have different pronouns, and as you know that we have to look at the context of the sentence, especially subject-object pronouns, and that we have to match the pronoun very carefully to the noun, then I think you already have learned quite a lot. Please stay tuned, please subscribe, come back to this channel. There will be more videos like this. Thank you for watching.